Hello, my guest today is Alexis Udine, Builder Marketing Manager with Group 2 and the Director of the company's new online sales coaching program. Throughout her career, Alexis has gone through extensive training programs for both online and on-site new home sales. She's a licensed realtor, holds a master's degree in education, and has personally been through the home building process twice. I must also mention that Alexis is one of our 40 Under 40 award winners for 2021. Congratulations and welcome, Alexis.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me today.
My pleasure. You've worked at Group 2, a well-known marketing company for home builders, for some time. Sales coaching is a different tack for the company. How did this program come to be?
Well, I guess, yeah. So I've been with the agency since 2008 and very off and on. And at one point, I went to go work for a builder as their online sales counselor. And I did the role for about 3 years. And like you said, I was trained in the role. And when I came back to Group 2, I had builders constantly saying things about how should I do this with my online sales counselor, or questions that would come up and arrive that just talked about the OSC. And we would give them some advice and some answers, but it just felt like something was missing. And many builders came to us. There are very few places in our industry that train for this role. And so it's something that we've talked about for a while. And like I said, our builders were kind of coming to us like, please offer this extension because it does go hand in hand. Sales and marketing are always hand in hand, and we're working every day to drive our builders' online leads. So why wouldn't we help with the management of those online leads? It just seemed like a natural progression. And doing the role for some time and having such a passion for it really just something that I wanted to bring to Group 2. And so it's been a labor of love. It's been something that we've been working on for some time, but it just seemed like a natural extension of our marketing department. And so we're really excited to be able to have more resources to the industry. Now more than ever, we see builders who haven't had this role, they're starting to fill it or have a need for it. And so with the increase of online sales counselors, there's needed more training programs. And so here we are bringing it to Group 2 now.
Well, go ahead and tell us something about the program itself. When did it start and what does it entail?
So we've been talking about it probably for the last 3 years and have been like kind of giving advice in some capacity, but really I would say it was launched in late 2019. And so we did it with one of our builders, a builder who does about 1,200 homes a year, and they had 0 OSCs, if you can imagine that. And so they had, yeah, and we were like, how are you surviving? And so they came to us and they knew my experience and they kind of come to us for everything. And so we started the program with them in December and continued coaching them in today. But that's kind of really when it evolved. So it's a fairly new program. I mean, about 6 months really active, but something that we had behind the scenes for much longer than that. So I would say late 2020 is when it really came to fruition.
So what does the program entail? Why don't you give us some details here?
So in terms of details, I would say it's a 90-day commitment. So at the very least, we're saying, please give us 90 days. And it really is completely comprehensive. So at the beginning of the program, we give you a 45-page manual. It's a deliverable with the whole follow-up program, scripts, ways to overcome objections, ways to ask for the appointment, literally everything you need from start to finish. And that's a resource that you will always have with you. And then for the first 6 weeks, we're having weekly Zoom calls, virtual calls with these online sales counselors where we're just diving into this manual. And we're going section by section and just reiterating and mastering our skills. At the end of 60 days, we have a test. And so we're making sure that they're really grasping everything and mastering these skills, like I said. But along the way, and you mentioned I do have a master's in education, so I get to bring my teaching abilities to the program, which is nice because I'm a cheerleader, I'm a coach. I really like to help people in that way. But there's homework along the way, accountability. We'll be role playing, listening to calls, doing worksheets. So really hands-on experience. So it's not like we're sitting there and like you're watching a lecture. It is very interactive, fun, and engaging. And so from the end of 90 days, you're set up and ready in your CRM to start taking leads, taking calls, qualifying people, really set them up for success. And during that time, I'll train directly one-on-one with the OSCs, and then we'll bring in on-site sales at times for maybe monthly calls, because the buy-in between on-site and online is critical. We'll bring in management and we'll be looking at benchmarks. So how many appointments are we setting per month? How many are going to contract? What are our sources? And so you're really involving the whole team. But the great part about it is I kind of take them up and I train them, and you can be involved as much or as little as you want. And I think that's a big part of it today. I mean, so many people see a need for this role, but they just don't have the time to train or get it set up. And that's where Group 2 can come in and really take it off your plate. So that's kind of a little bit about the program. Like I said, 90 days, and it doesn't just end there. We can continue that coaching because things come up all the time, and problems and objections. And so we can take that coaching and make it a regular part of your training ongoing. It doesn't have to end just there.
So it sounds really flexible, which I think is a really good thing, because not all builders are alike, and they want different, they want different feedback, for example. How do you deal with that?
I think one of the first things I say is this has to work for you, right? It has to be something that's tailored specific to you. And I think that's another thing that kind of sets us apart. But I'll say, do you want to be on calls? And some builders are, yes, I want to sit in. I want to hear what they're learning. And other people don't want to be bothered at all. They say, I'll stay out of your way. Let me step aside. And so I think that's another unique thing. Like, we don't have this, we have these set deliverables, but in terms of flexibility and personalization on what's going to work best for your team, both online and on-site, we can be flexible and adapt to ways that are most efficient and best for your team. And I think that's another great aspect of the program.
Yeah, I would agree. And so how does your program differ from others that are out there? Is there something that you could tell somebody watching today why they would want to go with you, other than, from someone else?
Well, first of all, I want to say I really want this to be fun. I mean, one of the things that I take pride in with our current builder partners is I like to develop a relationship. I mean, we really spend time to get to know each other and our personalities, and I think that's important to kind of develop that trust, that rapport. You're spending a lot of time with these people on these weekly calls, and sometimes they get discouraged or flustered, or things come up, and I want them to know that I'm there as a partner, and not just as their coach as well. But I think relationship building is something that I find very important. I want them to trust me, and I want them to be able to come to me for any problem. So I do think that the relationship building aspect of it is something that is different and a fresh approach that maybe other partners don't provide. The other thing is, being a full service ad agency, if you work with us, we know your brand, we know your marketing. So we really tailor the messaging to be specific to your brand and your voice. And I think that's another huge thing, because every builder has a different message, a different differentiator, a different voice. And so if we can bring that to the online sales experience from the start all the way through the customer journey, I think that's something that would exceed and stand out from competition. So we'll even sit there, I'll develop scripts with some of my trainees, and I'll say, okay, tell me what your differentiators are as a builder. And they'll name a couple. We'll actually write scripts and practice those scripts, so we can really make sure that we're bringing that what makes you different and stand apart to the forefront of your prospects. So it's really, it's not like a set script for everyone, that, it's really personalized to your marketing and your messaging. And I think that makes it a really unique approach.
And personalized to the trainees as well, right? Do they require a certain level of experience, or?
Oh, yeah. And it's been fun. I mean, only been doing this for, a couple months here, but I've had people who literally day one, no experience whatsoever, new to the online world. But then I have other people who have been to various boot camps and have been trained before, and they're still looking for the tools to succeed. And so I think that's another beauty of it, is that you can have no experience, or you can have been doing this for 5 years, but there's still always an opportunity to learn something new and take away and better and improve. I mean, I've been in this industry and I learn something every day. And so I think no matter your skill level, no matter your background, and one of the first things that I do when I have the kickoff calls is, tell me about yourself. Like, where did you come from? What is your experience? And you can kind of bring that to the role. And so I think any different kind of level of experience is welcome here. And again, I think that's why it's so personalized. At the beginning, I'll say, what is your goals? What are you looking to get out of this program? And I think that's an important question to ask everyone, because one person's goals might look different from another. And I want to make sure that at the end of the day, we're accomplishing them. And so sometimes we'll have builders that have OSC, and in today's market where we're getting, more online leads than ever before, sometimes they've had the need to bring in a second. Well, to me, I want to make sure that those two sales counselors are doing the same thing. The consistency and representation of your brand is important. So we'll do that just to kind of bring people in to make sure they're on the same page, because that's equally as important. So that was a long-winded answer, but really, honestly, it's for all levels of builders of all sizes, and that's kind of the way it's been. I've worked with people of all different experiences, and it's been great so far.
It sounds like it. So what kind of reactions have you been getting? I mean, you've been doing this for a while, a little while, at least now. So what are you hearing back?
So far, so good. I was saying the other day, I was on a call and we were kind of like quizzing some information from our manual, and we were laughing together, and we were laughing so hard that we started crying. And it's been fun. And I think some people at first are a little maybe reluctant. They've been doing this for a while. They're like, oh, I don't need the training. And it's amazing to see how quickly people are turned, and they're like, wow, that's a great point. I've never heard that before. So I think for me, seeing that people are getting new takeaways and new approaches and perspectives from this, even after they've been through tons of training, is just eye-opening on how much there is out there to learn. And so that's been good to see. Another thing Group 2 does is provide a full comprehensive follow-up system. And I've actually gone into some CRMs and put it all out there. And I've watched people's face drop when they see all the work of all the follow-up and all the sales processes being there and ready for them to go. And that's been very eye-opening. And so just to see the response of people just so happy to see that there's some efficiencies built in is making all the work that we've put into this program worth it. And so I have one builder that kind of dove in fast, and like the amount of appointments that their online sales counselors are setting is phenomenal. And then seeing how many of their appointments are going to contract, it's been rewarding for all, not just for me, but for the trainees as well, to see how successful they can be in this role. And like I said, I did it. It's a fun opportunity. I'm passionate about it, and it's a great career path. And so when you really love something so much, if you can kind of bring that energy and that passion to the people that you're working with, I think the sky's the limit, right?
Yes, and I can hear that passion and energy when you're just telling me about it. So I can imagine that it really comes through to the people that you're working with. Well, I wish you a tremendous amount of success. This is such an important thing for the industry to have. I mean, all builders really need to be doing online sales and doing them well. Yes. It's a very, very, very important part of the home buying process today, and they just.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing that we find right now is people, maybe they're having more sales than they've ever imagined, but someday the market's going to return to a normalcy. And, you have to have that foundation in place. You have to have those processes set up for success, because, people now are calling, I need an appointment, but there's going to be a day when you need to work for that appointment, and you need to nurture that prospect, and you need to make sure that they choose you over the next person. And so let's get those processes and that foundation in place so we can be successful in not only today's market, but markets moving forward.
Now is the time for that. That's for sure.
Yes.
So best of luck to you, Alexis. I'm really happy to hear about this, and I hope our viewers get a chance to take a look at this as well. So
absolutely.
Thank you
so much for having me on today. I certainly appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, and as do I, and my pleasure. So thank you so much, and we'll be in touch. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.